Jesse Jackson, who was elected as the statehood senator. And I said, when will it ever change? He said, it will only end when it rises to the level of personal insult. And we, the citizens of the district, have to start feeling insulted and acting upon it.
I got involved in the statehood movement in 1997 because the Congress of the United States of America took all powers from the local government. I was shocked. I had no idea that we were such political slaves.
When I moved to D.C. from New Jersey in 1991, I did not realize I was giving up my United States citizenship.
It is because we are American citizens, it's because we are human beings that we should have the equal rights in this country and in this city with everybody else in America. This has been going on for 225 years since 1791. Regardless of everybody else getting rights, whether the Civil War and the 15th Amendment with the suffrage and the 19th Amendment, all of this was irrelevant to D.C. We did not get those rights, neither men nor women, neither black nor white or anybody, to this day.
I'm a Republican taxpayer, but the government doesn't seem to treat my greenbacks any differently than a Democratic greenbacks, and I don't have the ability through a voting representative in Congress to determine whether that should go to discretionary domestic spending, to the military, or whatever. There's something in my libertarian blood that says there's something fundamentally wrong with that. It's called taxation without representation. We fought about this for a long time, and we won. But we didn't win.
My entire life has been devoted to advancing civil and human rights for all Americans, including those in the District of Columbia. But the greatest frustration I have had as an activist is my inability to achieve for the residents of the District of Columbia and myself what we fight for daily on behalf of Americans all over the country and what we do for democracy around the world. We fight to bring democracy to places like Kabul, Afghanistan, Baghdad, Iraq, but we deny that fundamental right to those residents who live here on the Potomac, and that is simply not right.
D.C.'s got the highest crime rate in the country, and it's run by Congress. So what does that tell you about their ability to run anything else?
It is the people's city. It is not the district's. It is the nation's city. It is not the residents. It belongs to we, the people of the Republic.
I happen to agree with my good friend from, obviously not so good a friend because I've never met her state. Is it Nebraska or Oklahoma? Yeah, they all look the same to those of us from the original 13 colonies. All the square states look the same. The square states. That it is the people's city, and that the people of South Carolina have almost as much vested here as the people who live here.
I come from Kentucky. It's a state where I guess I used to have the right to vote for my congressional representation. When I moved to D.C. to pursue a career in international relations, I lost that right that I was constitutionally given as a citizen of the United States. For nearly a decade, I've built a life in a place so proximate to lawmaking, yet I am still so far removed and disenfranchised from that process.
I feel we've let the veterans of the District of Columbia down. There are 200,000 of you who have loyally served, and I'm proud to represent people who served their country when they didn't even have the same rights that everybody else had. We have 32 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients from the District of Columbia. The man that wrote the national anthem is a Washingtonian. The man that wrote TAPS is a Congressional Medal of Honor winner from the District of Columbia. We have a proud record of service.
We should all recognize the historic contribution of the D.C. statehood body. We have never supported incrementalism, rather focused on the only solution for truly self-government and equality with citizens in the 50 states, D.C. statehood.
You know that DC really is much more than politics. We're much more than Congress. We're much more than a Capitol building. We are families. We are small business. We are culturally vibrant and unique. In that way, it's also like the rest of America, and it's time that we finally are given the full rights we are due by the Constitution as citizens of the United States.
I think the Statehood Commission has made an enormous mega error in attaching the process of a constitution, a so-called constitutional convention, to the process of getting statehood. This is like dragging a heavy stone behind you as you run up a hill.
We cannot rush this process. I believe that for our students and for a future government that is accountable to them, we have to expand the legislature. We have to look more like an actual state when we become a state, and it's not enough to tell us that we can just do that later.
Howard Croft and I were delegates to the Constitutional Convention that wrote the Constitution in 1982. But what we're asking you to do is on Tuesday to support a resolution that would go to the public in November that would offer us the opportunity to say yes or no to statehood, but striking from that resolution any reference to Constitution.
As for the Bill of Rights, let's get rid of the Second Amendment. Let that blood be on the hands of the nation and not the residents of the District of Columbia. We add in a couple of rights. Let's enshrine the right to vote for all District of Columbians in our Constitution. Let's have freedom from discrimination, which was in our 1982 Constitution. Let's set an example for the nation that we're a just, inclusive democracy, not one that excludes people and looks down on people. And finally, I think we should have a right to privacy enshrined in our new Constitution and the new Bill of Rights.
Go to the website and read the 1982 Constitution. You will be surprised how many things are better written, more complete, and are things that you want to know and that are missing for us right now.
I want to thank Mayor Bowser and the council and our senators and representatives for this opportunity to engage in probably the best civics lesson I've had in a long time. The spirit of '76 is right here and alive in the District of Columbia.